I'm going to kickstart with the first one, which is voice embed support for task reference and task recordings that we do. Um, what this is essentially we are now providing support for any task recordings that you're doing, where the business user who's doing the recording can go ahead and do a voice narration in addition to showing things on action with the recorder. The recorder would go ahead and capture those voice notes, be able to attach it with individual steps, and using an LLM also generate some business friendly generic summaries for each node. This is what we are bringing to the table with this latest capability. Who needs it is the COE leads or the business analysts who are going to be using those task traces provided by the business users in order to gather process understanding, build process documentation, and be able to get a comprehensive, enhanced understanding of how a task is typically performed. Customer benefits, it's very seamless and easy to use to begin with, but it gets the business analyst and COE leads a faster and easier process understanding. The LLM generated summaries and screen titles makes it easier to look through the process, the task graph within the tool, and start understanding the process more easily. And we'll see that live in action. And eventually that gets us to a faster time to value where the end user who's trying to decipher out of that task graph could be for purposes of process documentation, for process visibility, for process automation. Eventually, there's a faster time to value since there's an enhanced view and understanding of the process. Key use cases, covered that a little bit briefly, but essentially, whenever there is a use case to document a particular process for better visibility or doing process discovery, adding voice notes while the business user is doing the actual recording will serve well in order to get to that outcome faster. But essentially, the idea remains that let adding voice notes to the recording be a default setting, and it can be typically used for every task recording to enhance the overall output. With that, let's jump in action and see it live. I've gone ahead and shared my screen, and in the interest of time, I have already opened a new task mining study where, as a business user, as I'm invited to collaborate to this study, I will land on this UI where I'll be asked to capture a trace or build the trace. I will go ahead and capture a trace, and for the purposes of the demo right now, I'm going to go ahead and do some sets of tasks. May not be very well linked to what a particular activity is, but I want to give an understanding of what the capability will serve. So let's go ahead and start the recorder. As folks may be aware, if the business user does not have the recorder, clicking capture trace would first push the user to download and install the recorder. And once done, as they're able to sign in, the recorder client will pop up to initiate the recording. I had it on my machine already, so I can go ahead and click start. A couple of things to observe as the recording starts, and I will do that once it starts. You observe there is a mic button, which is default turned on. The business user has the ability to mute it, so they can go ahead and do the recording without the voice if they choose to do so. For now, we're going to go ahead and keep it on. And as we do a quick short recording for the demo, I'm going to narrate what I will do as part of my recording as well. So let's do it. As part of my task to go ahead and maybe add assigning a user as an activity in Jira incident management tool, I land into the particular case that I'm assigned to or that I'm supposed to be assigned to. I go ahead to the right section. It mentions the list of assignees. I have a way to use from the dropdown the set of user who needs to be assigned. If I need any clarifications, I typically go to my mailbox, I start an email thread, and I pull in some of my team members to ask them whether the assignment of the ticket is done right. So I go ahead and create an email, and I provided the particular reference, and I go ahead and hit the mailbox. I can also open a quick Word document to capture that this user assignment is done to me, is assigned to Anvita, and I save this. And then eventually this gets uploaded into the SharePoint folder, which the entire team uses. And this is how I go ahead and assign a user to a particular ticket in Jira. That's the end of my demo. Thank you. So as the business user, I went ahead and did the sets of actions and tasks that I was expected to do. As you must have noticed, I went ahead and narrated what I did. You'll notice here as it uploads that every single voice should get attached to individual actions, and we'll see it as it loads. It will also, the LLM and the background will also generate a generic business-friendly summary for each step that can also be eventually exported in the form of a process design document. And that creates a more comprehensive enhanced output. Once you are able to extract that PDD, you will notice all the voice notes are relevantly attached to every single step that is added into the task graph. And that's the core capability. We've also provided an option for the analysts or the business teams to export the voice notes independently in the form of an MP4 recording if there is a use case to just use those voice notes and circulate it internally if that's of importance and need. But I will give it a couple of maybe a few seconds for this to process. If it doesn't, then I'll pull up something that exists and show you how the voice narration comes through. But let's try to give it a couple of, maybe a minute at best. Let's see. As it opens, I'm going to try to pull up something that already exists so that we can accelerate on this one. Oh, there we go. We got it. I'm glad we were able to get it. So as you observe, all the traces that I worked on are added here. I have worked on about 11 steps for about a minute. That seems right. I can observe on the bottom left, there is a voice memo note that's added as well. And what I was trying to show you is that if I go in a particular step, the summary on the left, on the right panel gets updated with the narration that is done by the business user. So you observe in this case, when I was doing the narration, that you can go to navigate the task mining system, open the specific task, and all that the business user narrates gets summarized through the LLM, and we put that summary out against each step node. You can also play the voice note and see exactly where those voice notes are added. I'm going to skip that in the interest of time. It's causing some echo at my end. But this is what the core functionality is. The one other thing for folks who have used task mining may have observed is the screen title you see here for each step is also converted to a more generic step. This is a capability that is existing with the voice support right now, because the voice recording that was done as part of the recording was again leveraged by an LLM to generalize the screen title, which can be consumed easier. And that's another enhancement that's added with this voice support. So go ahead, try it out. It's right now. You won't be able to try it out right now. It will hit production in the next couple of weeks. We're hoping in the second week of March. Be on the lookout to go and test it out and provide us feedback, and hope this is of help.